Jorge Soler to the Toronto Blue Jays. We have been hearing about it for weeks now, but is it actually going to happen? If you're watching this video, then you already know that the Toronto Blue Jays have a dire need for some big-time bats. And now that players like Teoscar Hernandez and Jock Peterson are starting to go off the board, it is looking increasingly likelier that Jorge Soler is going to be the Toronto Blue Jays guy. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In this one, folks, we have some pretty big Jorge Soler free agency updates, which is making me feel a lot better about the Toronto Blue Jays' chances of actually landing him. Before we get into it, I encourage you guys to hit the like and smash the subscribe button if you enjoy Toronto Blue Jays news and discussion so you don't miss any future videos. Alright, folks, let's get into it. So Jorge Soler and the Toronto Blue Jays seem to be a pretty perfect match, and it's really starting to pick up some steam right now considering what's going on with the other squads who might have been interested in him. MLB Trade Rumors writes, Boston, Seattle, Arizona, and Toronto have reportedly shown interest in Soler at points this offseason. Of that group, the Blue Jays appear the strongest suitor. The Mariners and D-backs are almost certainly out. Seattle signed Mitch Garver and acquired Mitch Haniger, while Arizona re-signed Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and agreed to a $12.5 million deal with Jock Peterson this evening. That Jock Peterson signing is a big one because not only does it effectively take Arizona out of the Soler sweepstakes, but it's also one less option for the Toronto Blue Jays, which means that it's kind of forcing them in the direction of Jorge Soler. MLB Trade Rumors goes on to say that TSN Scott Mitchell tweeted this morning that Toronto's interest in Soler is very real. John Heyman of the New York Post wrote tonight the sides remain engaged in discussions. The Jays still have a clear need for offensive help, particularly at designated hitter. Toronto allowed Brandon Belt to hit free agency and hasn't landed a replacement. John Heyman also believes that a Jorge Soler deal is going to be coming very soon. Soler, I do think, will go fairly soon. The New York Post's John Heyman said Wednesday on a Bleacher Report livestream. I kind of like Toronto or Arizona at this point, but there have been other teams, including Boston, in on Soler. And as I mentioned earlier, Arizona, with their Jock Peterson signing, is effectively out of the race, so it really does feel like the biggest competition for Toronto right now in these Jorge Soler sweepstakes is going to be the Boston Red Sox. If Boston really is the only other competitor, then that makes me feel very good about the Toronto Blue Jays' chances. The Boston Red Sox have been in on a few guys this offseason, like Teoscar Hernandez, for instance, and really haven't come up with any of them, which is making me think that maybe their budget for these players isn't as high as the players would like. And if that's the case, then the Blue Jays probably have a pretty good chance of outbidding them. The one issue that the Blue Jays are going to run into with Jorge Soler comes down to the average annual value. Whoa, time for your daily Betway breather. A quick reminder that the best place to bet is on Betway. Must be 19 years of age or older to play. In collaboration with iGaming Ontario, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content. MLB Trade Rumors says Roster Resource projects the Jays right now at the $237 million base luxury tax threshold. They surpassed the threshold in 2023, so they'll be taxed at the rate for second-time payers this year. They'd owe a 32% tax on spending between $237 million and $257 million, with escalating penalties beyond the $257 million mark. So basically, if we are to believe this projection of $237 million, then that means that the Blue Jays will have roughly $20 million to spend before they get to that $257 million mark, which they probably don't want to do because they probably don't want to get more tax penalties moving forward. Spotrac is projecting Soler to make roughly $14 million next year, which would give the Jays $6 million of a cushion. But if I'm being completely honest here, folks, I think that that is a little bit low. I'm thinking that he's going to make closer to $16 or $17 million a year. Either way, the Jays should have just enough of a cushion to be able to bring him in without reaching that $257 million mark. And ultimately, if Soler starts commanding $20 million a year or more than that, then the Toronto Blue Jays should probably be out on him anyways. The good news of all of this is that right now the Toronto Blue Jays are the heavy favorites to sign Jorge Soler, and a deal is looking like it could get done very soon. Granted, we have literally heard that exact same thing several times this offseason with other guys, and that never happened, so I'm really hoping that this time it's gonna be different. But folks, let me know what you think about all this in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, go Jays go!